Breaking tonight, an arrest has been made in the case of a missing Warren mother. Police and family confirming to Local 4 tonight, Ashley Elkins' ex-boyfriend is now in custody.
From the beginning, loved ones suspected the ex-boyfriend. Police searching his apartment for hours on Tuesday. The ex-boyfriend was arrested Wednesday and is being held on related charges.
New information in the case involving the disappearance of 30-year-old Ashley Elkins was released on January 8, 2024. That was not the news the family was hoping to hear. Only positive thing that has come out is that 32-year-old Deandre Booker is behind bars for lying to a peace officer in regards to the disappearance of Ashley. If you are not up to date about the situation, I recommend you go back and watch a video I did a few days back. As of January 8th, the family was called to the police station to get an update after investigators searched his home and gathered evidence, plus took a dumpster outside of his apartment that all pertained to Ashley's disappearance. Detectives have spoken to Deandre prior to the search and before his arrest. That is how they determined that he was not being truthful with law officials. Ashley's car was also found just a few miles down the road from Deandre's apartment. However, she was not located in his apartment, the dumpster, or the car. This seemed to almost be a possible sign that she may still be alive, but sadly, the family would meet with law officials and soon found out terrible news.
Maurice Morton, Maurice Morton.
And what is your title and how are you handling the situation?
Spokesperson for the family and uncle.
Okay.
And who are we here with? We have mom and other family members?
We have the family. We have mom, sister, grandmother, auntie, cousins. We have a lot of family here.
What's the update tonight?
We did meet with Roseville and Warren Police Department tonight, a little after 7:30. We met with Chief Berlin and we met with multiple deputy chiefs, and they gave us an update on what was found yesterday. What they indicated was there was substantial evidence collected at the home of the ex-boyfriend. They also indicated that based upon that evidence, that Ashley was murdered. They don't have her body at this time. They do have good leads on where her body is.
Family has been saying since Friday that they suspected this man. Speak on behalf of them. What are they feeling? What are they thinking now?
You know, as we said before, there was a lot of frustration by the family. We felt that things could have gone faster. But we do know that since Monday, the police have worked hard. We're thankful to get to, the point of getting some information. It's not the information we would want naturally. But at this point, it's about justice, because there was a monster out there that took a very beautiful young lady away from us. And if you heard the tears coming from and her children tonight, it's just absolutely heartbreaking.
Now, as far as where Ashley may be, what are police indicating to you?
We don't have that information at this time. They have a strong suspicion of where she may be.
The boys, 10, 7 years old,
Yes.
won't have a mom anymore.
No, they won't.
What happens next for them?
It's going to take a lot of family. Everyone here is going to take the love and support of the family. They do have their father, they have grandparents. Everyone's going to embrace them and support them. That's actually starting now. The healing starts now. Grieving is a process. It's different for everyone. We know ultimately we'll have to go through a court process to make sure that justice is done. But we know it's going to be tough, but it's going to take the family coming together and the community supporting us. They had broken up in September. We know that Ashley didn't want anything to do with him. So, I can't get in the mind of a psychotic person, someone who would do something like this. So we really don't know what motivated him and why he did what he did. But also at this time, we asked for privacy as well. That's why we want to do this now. But respect the family's privacy, and over these next, few days and months, it'll be pretty tough.
Seeing the pain in her mother's face was so heartbreaking, and to find out there is a strong possibility that she is no longer alive was devastating. From the day Ashley never came back home, her mother feared that the man she once trusted had her daughter and was sitting outside of his home that night looking for her baby. Again, her mother's intuition was spot on, but during those few days, Monica did not feel that she was getting the help she needed. During Deandre's first hearing, many things came to light as Ashley's family packed out the courtroom.
Calling case number 25329FY, People versus Deandre Booker.
Your Honor, Randall Kane appearing as arraignment attorney on behalf of Deandre Booker. Mr. Booker, state your name for the court, please.
Deandre Booker. And thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. Steve Fox on behalf of the people.
All right, and Detective Les Bratz, can you please go to the table next to Mr. Kane? Mr. Booker, did you talk to Mr. Kane today?
Yes.
Did he go over your rights with you?
Yes.
Did you understand all of those rights?
Yes.
Do you have any questions regarding your rights?
No.
All right, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for purposes of arraignment. With regard to bond, we'll start with Mr. Kane.
Your Honor, Mr. Booker is 32 years old. He's in custody on this charge. He states he is not employed. He lives at the same address. He also states he's not on probation or parole. I'd recommend a reasonable bond in this matter.
All right, and Mr. Fox.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. Obviously, we're here on a 4-year felony for lying to a peace officer on crime investigation. This is, of course, as Your Honor is aware, involving Ms. Elkins. And the court is to consider MCR 6.106F and MCL 765.6, a number of factors. I'm going to hit on a few if you don't mind. The first is the protection of the public. The underlying matter, although not the charge specifically, but the underlying matter obviously involves a crime of violence, potentially. We are still seeking Ms. Elkins. The defendant, we suspect and believe, may know where she is. And a concern is her safety if, God forbid, the worst has not happened yet. So with respect to that, Judge, I believe that there is a risk to the public, specifically if she were still alive, and that's what we're all hoping for, of course. The other is the defendant's risk of non-appearance and the likelihood of conviction. Likelihood of conviction, Judge, the defendant made several material factual misstatements to Detective Lasprance and recited those to the court during the course of the initial swear-to. The defendant was aware that we were investigating a missing persons report. He was aware that there was some belief of his involvement. He made misstatements about both his location as well as Ms. Elkins and how she may have left his vehicle, left his apartment complex, all of which we can demonstrate by objective evidence and video evidence to be false. So there's a high likelihood of conviction in these cases, on these matters. And then last and most importantly for the court's consideration, I think at this point, is the probability or improbability of returning for trial. We have a history that the charges, at least, we do not have the disposition, but we did recover a PD-214 from his time in the U.S. Army. It looks like in 2016 he was charged with a couple of matters, including larceny of private property, and more importantly, fraudulent ID documents. And then in 2017, he was charged with desertion, or the absence without leave, going AWOL from the Army. Ultimately, he was discharged less than honorably, although it was not a dishonorable discharge. He was discharged from the Army in a less than honorable means or manner. We know that after the conversations, before the conversations with Detective Lasprance, but we believe after the underlying events of this case, he fled from Macomb County, went to Flint, where he was apprehended and brought back to Roseville. And we know that during that time, while he was in Flint, he accessed the internet to search for such things as fastest routes from Flint to Ohio, what to do on the run, is blood traceable, how to beat a polygraph, and deleting Google history. So Judge, I think by his own words and his search history, by his prior conduct, and by what is frankly at stake in this particular matter, he's of significant risk of flight. With that, I would request a significant bond. I'm asking for a $500,000 cash surety bond, no 10%, and then a steel cuff GPS tether be attached should he make that bond.
All right, Mr. King. Anything further from you?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Detective Les France, is there anything you wish to add?
No, ma'am. Not this time.
All right. As Mr. Fox indicated, there are many things the court has to look to with regard to setting bond. In determining bond, this court looks most closely at the risk of harm to the public and the likelihood of the defendant's appearance in court. I will note for the record that this matter is currently charged as a 4-year felony. I will also note for the matter that while Mr. Fox did point out several instances from the defendant's time in the military with regard to any sort of matters that came up with regard to larceny or desertion, that there is no other criminal history presented. But that being said, the matter being investigated does involve a missing person, which is a very serious matter. And the court takes very seriously that the allegations being made are that the defendant is lying to a police officer regarding material facts about a missing person at this time. That gives the court great concern about the risk of harm to the public and the likelihood that the defendant will make sure that he appears in court for both this matter and any potential further charges that may be brought by the prosecution. At this time, the court is going to assess a bond in the amount of $250,000 cash surety, steel cuff tether prior to any release. The PCC date in this matter will be January 22nd, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. on Zoom in front of Judge Bodecker. The exam date will be January 29th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. in person in front of Judge Bodecker. I have referred the matter to the Office of the Public Defender for appointment of counsel at this time. If the defendant does retain counsel, that counsel can send in a substitution of attorney.
Deandre appeared so emotionless as he stood up there listening to his charges and the accusations against him. He is probably hoping that she is not found and that he can get off, but I believe that behind the scenes the evidence is piling up as the investigation is ongoing. So as of right now, there are no unalivened charges, even though they believe that Ashley is sadly no longer alive.
Give us just a reaction of what you saw in court today. I know this, I can't even imagine.
I just really had no bond. I think it's good he got the bond. I just didn't want to have a bond at all, you know. I just want him not to be able to get out at all. I just want to go straight to prison and just never get out ever again.
I know that they asked for $500,000 and the judge lowered it. How do you feel about that?
I didn't like that. She should have did $500,000, but I can set $250,000, which could have been higher or no bond at all.
And you all have had your suspicions about him. Does this confirm what you were suspecting?
Yes.
Does he have any violent or history of anything? You know?
I never knew he was violent, but now that I find out things, I know he was stalking, and some things happened. But I found out later from friends first that, yeah.
So you think he was kind of controlling, possessive?
That I know he was, because he would go through her phone, and she was doing hair at home. And he had a problem with men coming in and get their dreads and stuff done. And so she had got a booth somewhere on 8 Mile so that she wouldn't have any problems with him. Then when they broke up, then she just went back and started doing it from her house.
When did they break up?
I want to say September.
And how long were they dating?
A year.
Can you describe their relationship? Have you been around them when they were
Yeah,
together?
he was around my whole family. When I say I thought he was the one who was going to marry her, he was good to her kids. He played ball with them. He took me to their haircuts. Ashley's father was murdered also April 8th of last year. He was there for that. I worked for Stellantis, and we had a Christmas extravaganza last Christmas. He was there.
Formal.
The formal. He was there. He was always at my house. I cooked. He was part of the family. So I'm just really shook that he would do something like this.
Did it give you any hope to hear the prosecutor say that they are still hoping that she's alive?
No.
I think, we heard from the chief and the police, and based upon the evidence, there's reason to believe that she is not. We know the prosecutor is legalese, right, until a body is found in a courtroom. They're still making those assumptions. But last night, the family was very clear that based on the evidence that and what was shared with us by the police, that she's deceased at this time.
I know you were just talking about how they're asking for them.
So yesterday I went and got them. I told this 10-year-old, he just screamed and hollered and asked why was somebody do something like that to his mother, because she's so kind. And how she takes care of them. Who's going to take care of them now? And he's supposed to be a chef, and he's supposed to buy her house, and he's supposed to cook for her. And they had plans, and now it's like he said he's not going to do anything now. He don't want to do anything anymore. And he's asked me questions like, is he going to his dad's, or he's got to stay there now? And I don't know. And I just want to thank everybody who helped me. I'm glad I went on live on Facebook. I'm glad that people share. I'm glad for social media who sent me information about all sorts of things, his family and people he knew and addresses. I thank the media for when you all came out, that y'all were on the ball. Y'all were calling me all the time from day one trying to get it on there. And, you know, we don't speak on why y'all didn't get it. I'm not going to go there. But once it got on, I was on social media. I said I felt like I was alone and I didn't have anybody. And everybody showed me I did, that there are still villages out here. And, yeah, I'm going to be okay with time. The boys will be okay with time, but it's just heartbreaking. She didn't deserve this. She was really a sweet, even when she was born, she was a child who never cried. And growing up, she didn't do too much. She was real quiet and happy. She was the person that everybody went to, her friends, for advice. And yeah, this is just hard.
She's still missing. You still don't know. What would help you right now? What would help you in any way right now?
Just prayers. Just everybody pray that we find her. Just pray.
Even if you know in your heart that she's possibly deceased.
I know she is. I knew it because they took too long, so.
You still want to just have your baby home?
Yeah. She's my oldest, and I always told them, my kids, to stay close. Because if something happens to me, then she was supposed to take care of them. But we accepted him. We accepted you in our family. You met her grandmother, you met her aunt, you met all her father's side of the family. You were good to those boys. You know, you didn't think that how it would affect those boys, the ones you got their haircut, the ones you kept sometimes when she had to run errands, the ones you played ball with, the ones you took to the park. You didn't care about them.
Was that immediate red flag to you that he didn't call when this all started?
No, it was a immediate red flag when she said, oh man, I knew it in my spirit something was wrong. And I knew that he had been there 2 days prior acting like he was a client. He went on her website and booked an appointment to get his hair done, and then he came to her house. He knocked on the front door and the side door, and they didn't let him in. So here he is, 2, 3 days later, boom, she's gone.
Can you describe any other stalking type incidents where he was doing that?
I don't know. A friend of hers said that she felt like somebody was always following her in her car. Something about another time he tried to make an appointment, but she found out it was him, and she called him, and he confessed that it was him, and he just wanted to see her, that kind of stuff.
Why did she decide to end it with him, or was it?
When we find out he had like 6 and 7 different pages, like on Facebook, he would have the same people on his page, like responding or replying or, you know, to whatever he posted, which is strange. The same 6 people are not going to always say something. You know, you're going to have different people, different days say things. And that's when we started realizing that something wasn't right with him.
Do you think those were fake or?
Oh, they definitely were. He was good with computers and doing things on them and making fake pages, making fake documents. We just really didn't know who he was. We thought we knew him, but we really didn't.
Did you know about going AWOL and the military or the other fraud
We found out that he was in the Army. He did tell her that, and I asked her, did she ever see him with, a picture with her? She said she saw, but didn't know about AWOL. A cousin had said they didn't know. So he was in the Army, and then all of a sudden he was home.
And it shows how calculating he was, that this was premeditated, and it shows the monster that he is. We're still waiting on more information as it relates to that. I'm sure the police knows more than we do. But to hear that, it says a lot about him and the monster that he is.
So you think he planned it out all ahead of time?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Not just, you think not, he didn't just plan it, but he planned to get off. I mean, he's hoping allegedly to pass a polygraph.
Yeah.
Right. That says a lot, right? You're researching how to pass a polygraph. You show up 2 days before and prior. This was no doubt premeditated. I was a prosecutor. I did homicide cases. This is as premeditated as you can get, right? He planned it every step of the way. It's just, you can't fathom why would someone would do this. You're talking about a mother, a 30-year-old mother of 2 children, and she didn't deserve this at all. But everything you heard in that courtroom, just from those messages alone, I think it says a lot about what he did and how this unfolded. We want justice in this. And I said this last night, it seems that this case is resonating with a lot of people, probably for a lot of different reasons. We should not have to see our black and brown women murdered. We should not have to deal with boyfriends or husbands attacking their significant others. These are not things that should be happening. This is not normal, right? And we shouldn't accept this as normal. Whether we're police, whether we're everyday people, whether we're prosecutors, whether we're, family members, this is not normal. And this should not have to happen to anyone.
And he is my daughter's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my mother. That was her first granddaughter.
Yeah.
You watched her grow up.
Oh, yeah. We all had a hand in raising her.
And then you embraced this gentleman into your family. How does that make you feel?
I only saw him a few times, but that was her friend, and he came to my house all dressed up for a formal affair, and the stance that he had, and I just saw some class in him, but we didn't know who he was. We didn't know.
Getting this additional information about Deandre's actions while dating, plus after the breakup, speaks volumes of his character. By all accounts, he appears to be a manipulator who thought that Ashley was his property and that he was not going to take no for an answer. She did not want him any longer and had a desire to move on from their 1-year relationship, but sadly, he could not accept that. Ashley's kid's father had a song about her years back that I can't play, but he knew she was a diamond in the rough that even he still admired and loved after they broke up. I'm just glad that the boys have their dad in this dark time, plus the rest of the family. They will continue to need a village during these even harder days ahead as the search still continues for Ashley. My thoughts and prayers are still with his family and all who cared and loved Ashley, and I hope that they find her sooner than later. So please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in their still much difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke, things change quickly.